on BBC Radio Merseyside. Now, a lot of people will remember the Overhead Railway in Liverpool was demolished in 1956, but now the railway's been brought back to life in a certain way in a new documentary using 3D graphics. Now, Stephen Wheeler is the man behind the project, and he's popped in to tell us about it. A very good morning to you, Steve.
Morning.
So, why this project? Where did your interest come in for the Overhead Railway then?
I did about it a lot when I was a child growing up. Did a lot of stories how fascinating it looked, and it was described to me what it was like, and I found it online, found some images on the internet. It did look really impressive, and the thing is, the photographs didn't do it justice. And I always thought, you know, if you could go back in time with a film camera or modern technology and you could film it, it would look really spectacular. The only way to do it now is to either do it on a computer or to build a real physical model. That's the only way to do it, really. So,
I mean, the project's been in the making for a long time. At what stage are you now then, Steve?
Well, I got pulled away from it because at the time I wasn't doing. I had a lot of free time on my hands when I was making it. We shot over 10 hours worth of interviews. Right after I shot them, I got a call from London, so I moved to London and I was working there full time, like 3 different jobs in London. So I just didn't have time to do it. And if you're going to do a project like this, you've got to be committed and fully focused, like 200%. And I just can't do that. I can't focus on this project while I'm, I've got to pay the bills, So
you really need to focus on this, don't you, really?
I do, yeah. It is long overdue. So
just explain what this will look like for people who might not know about, all the technology and the nuts and bolts of it. I mean, I've looked at online on Facebook today at a snippet of it, and it's very impressive, isn't it?
Thanks.
It is. So how does it work?
You start by... I used the internet to get a lot of references and so I could see what it looked like, books and things like that.
And the museum, of course, the one of the carriages is in the museum.
Yeah, they've got one of the carriages, yeah. You basically, you just start to build models. You'll start with a box or a sphere, something very simple, or just a square, and then from that you build a 3D model. Yeah. So
what buildings that are no longer there you've recreated as well? I mean, that takes a lot of doing and a lot of research, doesn't it?
To make the models, it took about 6 or 7 months. That includes the modelling and the texturing.
Really?
And then it took about 2 or 3 months to do all the animation and the rendering. Like the rendering takes that's when the computer calculates things like shadows and reflections and light and fog and all these different things, and then you render all those things separately and composite them together later on. Because I was only doing it on a laptop, it took a long time. If I had access to more rendering facilities, I could do a lot more with this.
And you were saying before, this is a technique that's used in a lot of movies nowadays, isn't it?
It's being used a lot, maybe in the last 20 or so years, yeah.
Really?
Yeah.
Wow, it is impressive.
Thanks.
But you're after a 3D printer as well, aren't you?
What I'm looking at doing is, it does look nice, but I think it could look much better if it was a real physical model. What I'd like to do is I could hand over the 3D models that were built in the computer to a company who can then give me a real tangible physical model. And the idea to take it further would be to photograph, to shoot these real models, and then get people into a green screen studio and film some crowd scenes, and then put them into the scenes with the overhead railway and give it like a Hollywood production value. Because I've got friends in London who've worked on some of the biggest films of all time, who've shot miniatures, and working with them, I think I could create some images that would look truly spectacular.
Really bring it back to life, wouldn't it?
But I need to raise finance to do that.
Yeah.
Because to get the 3D prints done, it's not cheap. It's expensive.
So if anyone's listening today who thinks they'd like to maybe contribute to that or make a donation towards, this very, very interesting project, where can they get in touch with you, Steve?
They can contact me. There's the website went down. I'm trying to get it back up now. It's www.liverpooloverheadrailway.com.
Okay.
There's a Facebook group, so if you just go on Facebook and type it in, you'll find it there. Or I've got my own personal website, which is www.Stephen, spelled with a V, paulwheeler.com. Contact details are there, email address, telephone number.
Okay, fantastic. Well, good luck with it.
Thanks a lot.
And I mean, as it stands now, it's an impressive piece of work, but the project you're going to take it on to sounds amazing. So, where can we see the documentary? We've got a snippet on our Facebook page. Where can we see it?
It's not finished. I need to, like I said, I need to allocate the time to just do this. I've got another project on the go at the moment, and
so you're
work
busy
as well and everything. But I'm trying to get it done for the end of the summer. That's the deadline I'm setting myself for. So yeah. Well,
listen, the best of luck with it, mate. And
thanks a lot.
If you fancy helping Stephen along the way there, you know, as always, it's down to pounds, shillings and pence, but a really, really impressive thing. And we were talking this morning about how fantastic it'd be if it was still here. You know, you look at the way it was, and imagine that in the city centre now.
I know.
It'd be stunning, wouldn't it?
It would.
Steve, the best of luck with it, and thanks for telling us about it.
Thanks a lot. Cheers.
Cheers, pal. Thanks, Steve.